Individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
1 year ago, I was in the accident which nearly killed me. The last year has been a lot of work recovering, and positivity has been a key. Staying positive, I no longer refer to the accident as an accident, but rather the day my Toyota Sienna from Rudy Luther Toyota saved my life. That's a factual statement, and the main reason why I'll always own one for the rest of my life. Some places will talk about auto safety, but I'm a living example of why you and your family can trust a Toyota from Rudy Luther Toyota. Go test drive one today and try the hybrids. They're fantastic. Rudy Luther Toyota on 394 in Golden Valley.
Now at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, the Morso wood stoves qualify for a 30% tax credit.
Morso wood stoves earned the Nordic Swan Eco Label, Europe's most rigorous environmental standard. Here in the U.S., these Morso wood stoves qualify for the 30% federal tax credit. This is a credit of up to $2,000 off your income tax when you install efficient wood heating. Morso wood stoves are known for elegant Danish design. Made of quality cast iron, this is furniture that radiates heat and warmth. Morso brings the tradition of wood heating into the 21st century.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has been selling wood-burning products since 1977. Morso is an important part of our diverse selection of fireplace products. We want to make fire work for you. Let us show you how Morso wood-burning stoves can work in your home.
Get in touch with the folks at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. They are the chimney and installation experts. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 27, then a chance of snow showers Saturday with a high of 31. Whether you're ringing in the new year at home or with a night out, there's an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant or food purveyor to make the occasion perfect. Whether it's friends or family, ring in the new year with an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant or food purveyor. See the list at eatlocalminnesota.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, supporting honest Native news, stories, and events. Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
Hey, you know what time of year it is, Haley? And it's getting to be not that time of year anymore, but do you know what time of year it is?
Yeah, we are coming up to renewing and getting our health insurance plans in check for 2024. So if you need some help doing that or finding the right most affordable plan for you that best fits your income, MNsure, our friends at MNsure can help you out. So head over to mnsure.org.
Wow. Hey, we have State Senator Mary Kunesh on, and it's our fun Friday here, and we talk about a lot of things that's going on around the state and nationally. And before we get going, and again, welcome State Senator Mary Kunesh. It's anniversary of Wounded Knee Massacre, and I don't want to really get talk into it too much, but we definitely want to acknowledge it and welcome. You're muted.
There we go.
Money.
I'm paid to watch
There we
day,
go.
everyone. I am real happy to be here again this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for checking in with us. And it's always really great to see you. I guess what I mentioned just a little earlier, it's the anniversary in 1890 of the Wounded Knee Massacre, and we're here remembering Wounded Knee. And I just wanted to recognize that and get your thoughts on it before we get going here.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts, especially in this day and time of troubles in the Middle East that so parallel the tragedy and the historic trauma that are indigenous. My relatives, my family, my mom's family is from the Standing Rock Nation, Dakota, Lakota. In my genealogy, my family tree, and it's interesting as well is that my kids are Arab. Their dad is Middle Eastern from Lebanon, and so having that historic trauma on my side of the family and the trauma of what their father went through, this day and time is very real for me and for my children. And we've been talking a lot about that. And Wounded Knee is, another manifestation of what happened to our ancestors, and has continued to happen to our ancestors. And so when we look back at that massacre of, hundreds of Lakota Indians by the U.S. Army, they just went in and just sort of mowed them all down. It's so similar to what's happening in the Middle East. And I know that there are plenty of indigenous people across the world, not just the United States, that are recognizing the trauma of colonization. And Wounded Knee is just another one of those.
Yeah, well, really, really good point. And geez, we hope that this next year really brings better things here for all our relatives across Turtle Island and the whole world. But really, really good point, Mary. That's it's heavy on our mind. We lightly talk about it here, but it's definitely something that we're all thinking as Native Americans when we watch this news, and the news to me seems very slanted because they talk about it being a war, and all I see is a massacre.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, when we look back on Wounded Knee and we think about the deprivation that happened, the lack of providing the food rations that were promised in the treaties, the education, housing, all of those things. I think it's very clear that the U.S. Withheld all of those things, and created this really like abrupt change in our tribes and in our indigenous communities. All of a sudden they weren't able to roam the prairies, they weren't able to hunt and gather the way that they had for generations and generations. They had to stop practicing their religion and start dressing and speaking like the colonizers. And of course Christianity was the thing, turn these heathens into Christians and get rid of their traditional religious practices. And that kind of forced assimilation can only go so far before people are going to stand up, who's ever left after disease and war and all of that who's ever left is finally, stood up and say enough is enough. And so these days are really, really hard. I know you said it's that time of year, but we just had the run and the gathering for the Dakota 38, and we have Wounded Knee, and we're all saying happy holidays, season's greetings. But this is a really, really, really tough time for our Dakota and Lakota ancestors, as well as those that are still here with us today.
Wow, really, really good point. And yeah, it is travesty, and it has to do, and I like to bring this up to our allies that are listening too, Mary, is that before the massacre of Wounded Knee, when they asked for all the guns and everything, and took all the weapons away from the 300 Lakota Dakotas, and then massacred them. It was just prior to that they were doing the dance,
The ghost dance.
thank you
The
very
ghost
much, the
dance.
ghost dance, and that's when the white people freaked out and started massacring them, and we haven't. And I guess my point is too, that people don't know this, but like when I was a junior in high school in 1978, so that not that long ago, it was still illegal until that year to
Hmm.
practice their own religion.
Yeah, a lot of people are surprised when we talk about how recent the indigenous people of the United States and of Minnesota got their rights. The right to practice their own religion and the ghost dance, the right to vote, not just in tribal affairs, but in general elections. I think it was maybe 4 years ago. I worked on Get Out the Vote in Indian country, and so many of the elders had no idea that they could vote in general elections because
Mhm.
they never had been, and nobody had really made the effort to inform and educate and provide that the location and the ability to vote. And so when I talk about these things, I just had this conversation with somebody over Christmas, a non-native person. They're like, I had no idea.
Right.
And we all know a lot of the work that we do is educating the public and educating people around these issues because that's why we need good change.
Yeah, and I think that's why we do this show and we have you on and we talk about these things that might be not second nature, but we know and grew up with, but a lot of people haven't, and especially the way the history books have been written in our time, and especially
Yeah.
my time as being a young person. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons.
daughters,
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
As we age, it's important to invest in our health and to help protect it. Like the flu, COVID-19 is always changing. That's why it's important to stay up to date on your vaccines. By getting the flu and COVID-19 vaccines, you can renew your body's defenses and lower the risk of getting sick. Get your health boost and protect yourself against the flu and COVID-19. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. That's vaccines.gov.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
I'm Angela Warner with Warner Stellian, and if you know me, you know I love a good bargain, which is why I'm telling you about our year-end appliance clearance. Our stores are packed with red-tagged closeouts, scratch and dents, and floor model appliances priced to sell so we can make room for next year's models. And if you buy more now, you save more. Get an additional 10% off 2 red tags and 15% off 3. You'll still enjoy our famous free delivery by our trusted specialists. So hurry into your local Warner Stellian to score a deal before they're gone.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and it's our Friday fun day here, and we're talking a little somber because of this time of year for our relatives in the history of removal and trying to slaughter us, I guess would be the quickest way to put it. You know, Haley and I were talking in between the commercial break, and Haley, you were surprised how quick that massacre happened. And I was telling you too that there's pictures everywhere of it, and it's sickening.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to look at the pictures. I think that might be a little too much, but I'm always surprised to kind of remember that the massacre of Wounded Knee didn't take place over like a few days or like a week or like even 24 hours. This whole massacre happened within 10 minutes and they killed over 250 men, women, and children. So when you think about it, it's just horrible.
Yeah. And that's not that long ago, is it, State Senator?
No, it's not. I mean, these things are sort of recent history. And we didn't learn about it when we were growing up in school or in the greater discussions. I mean, we're having these discussions now. And I know there are folks out there that when we bring these things up in the legislature, there's some that will say, that was then, that happened, we're so sorry. But when we look for any kind of consolation or not even restitution, but some kind of just acknowledgement and the ability to talk about it and acknowledge it, we get a lot of pushback at the legislature. It's just the same as like getting a new flag and a new seal, and the controversy around the seal, and what it represents. I mean, what it was intentionally saying, goodbye, Native folks, we're taking over, see ya.
Right.
And why do we need to do that? Why do we, we still like the flag. You're whitewashing history. And that's not at all what we're doing. We're just saying that symbol is very hurtful to the indigenous people of Minnesota. So let's do something different, and let's talk about this. The resistance is I'm not surprised by the resistance, but I'm always a little dumbfounded by the thoughtlessness of some people and their digging in their heels not to change anything and not to tell the real stories.
Well, for some people too, you can't butter the right side of the bread. So, there is that portion, but there's also people that think that, it's a threat to them that the truth comes out. And yeah, it's deep. And I'm here, just dealing with a certain amount of people right now because I've been sick, but dealing with flag naysayers. I think the more and more I look at the flag, and definitely the new and improved seal, I am really, really, really happy.
Yeah. I think the seal is the one that most people are very excited about. It's beautiful. It's got some lovely Dakota language on it, which is the controversy, especially for our GOP members. And then we have the flag that often has really come up as a bit of a a problem. Like, why do we need to change the flag, and what is it all about? But the new flag it's different. Yes, it's pretty simple, but I think that it takes a little bit getting used to, and there is meaning behind it. It's not just a bunch of shapes on there. That letter K is supposed to represent the state of Minnesota. We have the 8-pointed star. Maybe it isn't in the exact shape of Minnesota, but it's there. You have to kind of think outside the box. The 8-pointed star is, we find it on the floor in our state capitol, in the, you
Right.
know, the entranceway. And the blue, you know, we know, everybody knows that Minnesota's the land of sky blue waters, and well,
Right.
it's over 10,000 lakes. So, I mean, there is a lot of really good symbolism in there.
Right.
And change
Well,
is hard for a lot of people.
let's talk about the old one for a second, because I don't know, people listening to this, we're all over the country, really know um, how hurtful that seal and last flag was. You have a Native American on the horse, and then you have a settler, plowing the ground, and then there's a rifle right next to him on a stump, and they're looking at each other like, who's going to draw first? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I had an art appreciation class when I was in college, and they talk about meaning in paintings, you know. And
Mhm.
when you look at the old seal and the old flag of Minnesota, you see a white colonizer plowing up the virgin prairie lands, looking over
Right.
his shoulder at the native that's, you know, on his way out, going west. Like you said, with that stump of all the woods that the colonizers, pioneers cut down, his rifle ready, you know, right there and ready for anything. And then what's important is that's not just somebody's interpretation of it, because there's actual, you know, evidence that the manifest destiny attitude, like the strongest will survive and kick out the weakest. Seth Eastman was the one who created that one. He actually was a Native man,
Right.
who was very well educated, lived as a white, you know, colonizer, had gone through that whole assimilation. His first wife was a Native woman. His second wife actually wrote a poem to go with those symbols, where she states in it, give way, you know, and that was the intention of it. Again, when we think of what the professional flag people, the vexillologists say, keep it simple, like two or no more than 3 colors, something a third grader could draw from memory. Our old flag was not that. And I think that they threw it up there on the flag after the old seal was made, because they couldn't come up with anything else, and just get it on the flag.
Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I was just saying too, I remember I was talking with my mom about this recently, and back in 6th grade, we did something called the Minnesota Scrapbook. I don't know if
Mhm.
anyone else had to do that, but it was a huge project. And one of the things we had to do was draw the Minnesota state flag and color it. And I remember it took me hours, like hours, to trace this flag. And just, you know, going to say, like, it is good that a kid can remember how to draw it, you know, off their memory.
Wow, good
Yeah.
story. We have a weekly guest, Arvina Martin, who's Ho-Chunk and the first city council member in Madison, Wisconsin, and they changed their flag too, because, and it was a slight change because it had a Native American kind of symbol in the middle of the flag, but it was like from the Southwest design. And to make a long story short, I knew the kids, they aren't kids anymore, that designed that flag back in 1962. Um, and she said, because they went through the whole training and going through the process of changing their flag about 4 or 5 years ago for the city, that she loved Minnesota's flag. And that was cool to hear, because she'd been trained in, you know, changing the flag and what to do with the flag and how to make a flag and what it should represent. So that was really cool for us to hear here on Native Roots Radio.
She loves the new flag?
Yep.
Okay.
Loves
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot of people with a lot of feelings on this, you know, the good, the bad, and some ugly discussion about it. But Now that we've decided on it, we had our last meeting this past Tuesday. The Minnesota Historical Society submitted the report today to the legislators. So we're done. And as long as we don't do anything legislatively, come June 1st, this will be our new flag and our new seal. Now, our GOP members have already made it very clear that there's going to be some legislation and there's going to be some pushback around the flag. But, you know, I do get so many positive messages from people, and even people that I'm kind of surprised by how we needed to change it. And maybe they don't really, you know, they had a different one that they wanted, but at the end of the day, they're willing to support this new flag and kind of get used to it.
Well, State Senator, the irony too, you said, was it Seth Easton that you said that
Eastman, yeah.
Eastman, he's related to Kate Bean, and that's kind of the irony, right? That
Yeah,
she
she's
was
on the committee, and she was a real champion.
right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. It's Friday, and we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh. Let's take a quick break and come right back.
Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Unveil the captivating world of native photography at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Their new exhibit, In Our Hands, Native Photography 1890 to Now, turns the camera around and puts native photographers in control, featuring hundreds of photographs captured by generations of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and Native Americans. You'll view the world through their lens, revealing the beauty and complexity of Indigenous heritage. Don't miss this incredible experience. Visit In Our Hands at the Minneapolis Institute of Art now through January 14th. For more info, visit artsmia.org.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
Hi, Matt McNeil here. You've demanded it, and AM 950 will deliver. The AM 950 calendars are back for 2024. This year's calendars features photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new or current sustaining members who make recurring donations of at least $10 will receive an AM 950 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25, $50, or $100, you'll receive a thank you of both the calendar and a brand new AM 950 tote bag. Make a one-time $25 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you. Or make a one-time $50 or $100 donation, you'll receive a thank you of the AM 950 calendar and the AM 950 tote bag. It's really simple to become a member of AM 950. Go to our webpage, am950radio.com, click on the membership button, and sign up. The website has the details on the different levels and the 2024 calendar and tote bag. Thank you to everyone who's continued to help support AM 950, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 27, then a chance of snow showers Saturday with a high of 31.
Get the appliances you've been dreaming of for less at Warner Stellian's year-end clearance. Shop closeouts, scratch and dent, and floor models. Plus, buy more to save more. Take 10% off 2 red tags and 15% off 3 at Warner Stellian's year-end clearance.
Hunterfeld here. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, thank you, Haley. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're talking a little history, a little updated stuff, a little flag stuff. It's I didn't realize until you told us today is that there has been this big pushback on the flag and the seal, and how ridiculous. I mean, how ridiculous.
Yeah. I think in this day and age, whenever one party gets out of, in front of a project, and even something like this, there's going to be those that are going to push back, and not always in the best way or the most kind way, but that was one of the pieces of legislation that we passed this session that I'm really super proud of. I carried that bill in the Senate. Some other things that I'm really excited about that we did this past session, of course, was to shore up MIFPA, Minnesota Indian Family Preservation Act, when ICWA was under siege. So that I'm really proud of too. We also were able to return the sacred lands to the Upper Sioux community that had been turned into a state park that people were camping on, recreating on. I drove out there this past week to Granite Falls area, and I drove by the park, and actually it's not safe to be on that road in front of the park because on the one side it's all washed out. I mean, there's signs that say don't, road closed. And I was like, wow, it looks like I can get through there. So I did. I went and picked up a beautiful pair of moccasins that Walter Labatt made for me. So Wopila Tonka, Walter, if you're listening. But we've got some other really good pieces of legislation that are coming up into effect as of January 1st. And one of them is that what do we call it? It's a petition for extreme risk protection order, or the red flag gun confiscation order. So as of January 1st in Minnesota, if somebody with a firearm that is believed to be in danger to themselves or others, they can contact the police and petition for them to intervene. And we know that, the leading death for children is guns.
Yeah.
In the United States, it's not sickness, it's not car accidents, it's not falling off your bike and hitting your head. It's guns that somebody is shooting. And so that's really important. And also for our juvenile delinquents, if the staff at juvenile detention facilities can't conduct a strip search without specific contraband and concerns, and they can't isolate juveniles as a punishment. So those are some really good public safety rules or laws that we passed. Another one is sick and safe time. 48 hours of paid sick and safe time is what employers under certain circumstances have to provide for their employees. And that's a year. I know there's a lot of pushback and they're saying, oh, this is going to break our bank. But 48 hours in a year, that's reasonable if you ask me.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yep. Another one that was really big one that had a lot of discussion was now all school districts have to stock all the bathrooms with free menstrual products. And so, there's a real thing called period poverty. And there are plenty of students, and maybe, as a teacher yourself, Robert, that there were, students that just didn't have the necessary hygiene products, and now we put dollars into that so that schools have those and can provide them in the bathrooms. And of course, we had an incredible education bill this session as the chair of education finance. We put like $5.2 billion into our school system. So that was really, really excited. And one more thing I'll talk about, and then you guys can talk, but there's a whole bunch of new specialty license plates. One is the blackout license plate. I don't really know what folks get excited about that. That's just a black license plate with white lettering. But what I'm really excited about is our very own MMIR, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives license plate. And those dollars that you spend to get that specialty license plate will go right into our MMIR office so that they can continue to do the good work.
Wow, that's awesome. And what a kind of a year-end kind of reminder of the good work that was done that you did and that your colleagues did. I want to go back to the gun law and the red flag law. That is amazing. And I don't want to, I want to talk about that a little bit because that would help out this whole country if we had something like that, because it seems like a lot of our youth are the ones that are shooting people. And just, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, Mary.
Yeah, so we know that there are so many people that suffer with mental health issues,
Mhm.
right? And when we think about all of these shooters that have gone into schools, and oftentimes they're students from that school that had been there before or currently, um, who have these mental delusions or have issues and have access to guns. Um, the two are dangerous. The two are
Right.
dangerous. I'm not against people owning guns, but there are
Right.
so many guns that are available. It's that proximity of having a instrument of death that worries people. And when there are family members or other people that know that somebody has a gun who has mental health issues and and could very easily be a harm to themselves or to other people. It's just, you know, the fact that they can intervene and the police are obliged to look into it, and they can't just say, well, they own a gun, that's the law, we can't do anything.
Yeah, and I was stumbling on my words, but I think in the last year with a lot of these mass shootings, how much that law could have helped in
Mhm.
quite a few of this past year's shootings. It's
Yeah.
when you were talking about that, just was like, wow, I did not know that. It's amazing, amazing work.
It is really amazing in that, we get such pushback at the legislature anytime we want to do some sensible gun control
Mm.
and or any kind of gun violence prevention. And really what this law does, it allows uh, it allows the gun to be removed from the gun owner, and it's a temporary removal, so it's not permanent. So it's a temporary removal of their firearm from the person that they believe is going to be danger to themselves or others, and then it has to go to the courts. The judge then hears the situation, and they are the ones that make the decision to issue any kind of order based on any statements or actions or evidence by the gun owner, as well as those that had concerns.
Mm.
And after a while, let's say that the person is found to be safe and sane, those guns may be returned to that person, but not
Mhm.
without the court hearing and not with a mental health evaluation. And I think that's what's really important.
Yeah, really, really important. And of course, education, the money that your group that you were in that supports education. You can't, there's been an attack, as you know, we both were teachers for a long time, and an attack on public education. And, whether it's vouchers the Republicans talk about, or even charter schools to a big degree are an attack on education. We need to really support our teachers and our students and give them the best chance to win. And I applaud you. And that must have been fun, but also really hard work too, because that's a lot of responsibility.
Hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of hard work. We had been trying as Democrats to get some really good, sensible laws, gun violence or gun control laws in place, and this was the year that we were able to do it.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So what else is what's the rest of your week look like? I know it's a long weekend, and everyone's got to be safe out there, and your family, you got little ones now. What are you
Yeah.
guys doing?
Well, I think we'll just be hanging out a lot. I want to get the girls over to Birch Bark Books and to the Wild Rumpus bookstore. Have you ever been to the Wild Rumpus? They have live animals in their store, and one of my gifts to the granddaughters were they could go pick out a book. So we'll be trying to get over to both of those places and find them a new book of their choice.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's cool. That sounds
That's a
fun.
good New Year's. We're starting this New Year's tradition with a new book every New Year,
That's
even though
great.
they got a bajillion for Christmas.
From grandma, I'm sure too, because
Hmm.
grandma loves to read.
Yes, yes, I was a
Me
school
especially.
librarian for all those years.
Right on.
Mhm.
Well, we really appreciate you coming by and sending us this good cheer, and also talking serious about issues that we always do. And I really just want to say a big peeny thank you so much, Mary, for coming on and just being the rock solid guest that you always are, and bringing your truth, and bringing hard things to talk about, but also just a really positive end of the week for us. I just think it's so great having you on Fridays.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Wofila.
Right on. All right. Hey, well, that was State Senator Mary Kunesh, and again, great segment, and we're looking forward to next year with many, many more, and reporting the great work that she's doing, and our relatives and allies are doing in the Minnesota State Capitol. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back after this short break. Thank you. Stay with us.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, this is Frank Brown, owner of Minuteman Press Uptown, Minnesota's only minority-owned union printing company. And I have big news. We've moved. Our new building in North Minneapolis is much larger with state-of-the-art equipment. That means we can get your projects done faster. We're on Washington Avenue North off I-94 at the Dowling exit, which allows for quick pickup and drop-off with plenty of free parking. And yes, we still print everything. I moved to MP Uptown because as a Black business owner, I want to be in North Minneapolis and help provide jobs. At MP Uptown, we pay above living wages, hire people who have made mistakes in the past, and believe in social justice. We have over 175 Google reviews with a 5-star rating. Let us handle your next print project because when you support our business, you support the community. Call 612-870-0777 or visit mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com. We print everything.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
How?
Oh,
Good one. That was a good tight one. Very
Good.
good and precise. Hey, Haley, what do you got? What are your plans here for the new year? Any resolutions or do you
Ooh.
believe in that or?
Good one. You know, I'm so used to seeing people come up with really great New Year's resolutions. My last year's New Year's resolution was to be sober from alcohol, which I can proudly say I have done. So bravo to me. But I'm looking forward to just recognizing where I have been, where I am now, and just looking forward to the next year.
Yeah, definitely. That is a good one. I think my resolution's always been not to have a resolution.
Yeah.
But I commend people that do have resolutions and take them serious and go on like it sounds like you have with drinking, and that's a big deal. So good for you. Ups to you.
Thank you. I saw that we talked about briefly in the past too that they were bringing buffalo or Tatanka or Chef G back into the Prairie Island Mdewakanton Sioux area, and I think I saw something where they brought the buffalo in there now, right?
Yeah, just recently. And let me see. I had an article, and I've been going all over the place here. But yeah, Mdewakanton Sioux have brought in some bison back into their mix and bringing it up. Before we talk about that, one of the things too, when I read this article, Haley, it mentioned that down in Mankato, there's also already bison down there that you can drive through and see and maybe get whipped around if you're
I know. Well, we did that. We tried to go see the buffalo after. That was the powwow that we were down there in Mankato for.
powwow. Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
And they were hiding from us.
Yeah, definitely. And I haven't seen a bison in person, I don't think so. It was pretty interesting, and bringing them back. And I don't know if people realize this, but part of the colonizers coming in, it was the first thing they wanted. One of the things that they did was they killed off millions and millions of bison because they knew that Native Americans basically got everything from them, whether it was the fur, definitely the meat would feed people for a long, long time during the bison hunt. And so that was one way to get down on the Native Americans and to hold them down and to repress them.
Exactly. Yeah. So the article here, this is from the Star Tribune, just goes along with saying, our populations, our native populations, specifically our Mdewakanton Sioux, the bison, they were nearly extinct along with the bison in the 1860s.
Right.
And what is very cool, so us as natives, I feel like we're very matriarchal, society driven type of people. And so are buffalo, which is
Right.
very cool. So that's also just holds a lot of meaning to us.
Yeah, definitely. And it's great that they're doing that. They're fenced with what is it, kind of shock wire, so they don't run wild out of their area, so people don't have to worry about them.
On the
They
roads.
if they pull over and want to shoo them against the road and then get whipped around like we've seen on
on
Yeah.
TikTok and all the social medias with all the Karens going out there and wanting to get a selfie, but just be careful and know that these things can run fast. I mean,
Yeah.
sixty
And they're
miles an hour.
sacred. They're
Yeah,
so sacred.
definitely, and they've kept, so it's great that they're doing that, and it's like, I don't know if they're gonna harvest these or what they're gonna do with it. I didn't read what they're gonna do in the article, but it's really just a good kind of, "We're still here," kind of, response, I believe, that we have
Yeah.
bison here roaming in the plains again in Minnesota. And it's funny too that State Senator Mary Kunesh in the last segment talked a little bit about the trees being cut down, and that was kind of a symbol in the flag too. And I never really thought of that, but yeah, I mean, we have
Yeah.
prairies here, and we've had old trees that have been cut down, and so we want to protect Mother Earth and Father Sky, and all the beings that are on this planet that are our relatives.
Yeah, all of our wildlife and everything. Well, we got a couple events I want to mention. We
Yeah.
have our sobriety powwow, which will be this weekend. We also have our lacrosse games. This is New Year's Eve. Lacrosse, Minnesota Native Lacrosse. Their tournament and games will be happening on New Year's Eve at the Brooklyn Park Indoor Dome. And that'll be December 31st from 12 to 6. And they're going to have free merch and some food and games. And you can come try out a native lacrosse stick and see if you can hit the post.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do.
There, that sounds cool. I'll take a selfie of you doing that. Also, I just want to swing back to with the powwow. Do you have the address in front of you? Because it's in Minneapolis. It's not at the Indian Center where it used to be.
Yeah. So this 35th annual American Indian Movement on the Red Road celebration of sobriety powwow is happening Saturday and Sunday. So this will be the 30th and the 31st. And it is happening this year at the East Phillips Community Center in Minneapolis. That's 2307 17th Avenue South. And some grand entry times are 7 p.m. on Saturday and 2 and 8 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, and you'll see me out there coming back and forth, and I love supporting our community, our dancers, and all the people that are out there. And one last thing too, before we head out into the new year, again, 1890 Wounded Knee massacre happened, and we want to remember Wounded Knee. And maybe Haley, you can introduce the song that we have for the last minute or so of the show.
I would love to. This is by one of my all-time favorite Native American bands, Redbone. Some of you may be familiar. They sing Come and Get Your Love. So this is their song, though. This is called We Were All Wounded at Wounded Knee. Have a great New Year's, everyone. Be safe, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
We were all wounded at Wounded Knee. You and me, we were all wounded at Wounded Knee. You and me, in the name of manifest destiny. You and me, you and me, you and me. Always broke their word. They pinned us in like buffalo, drove us like a herd, and finally on the reservation where we'd gone for our preservation, we were all right. By the 7th Cavalry. You and me, you and me, we were all wounded at Wounded Knee. You and me, we were all wounded you and me. In the name of manifest destiny. You and me. You and me. You and me. Now we make our promises. We won't break our word. We'll sing, sing, sing out our story till the truth is heard. There's a whole new generation to dream of veneration.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andy Otto with Twin Cities Pride with some exciting news. Beginning Saturday,